Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And filling in for Terry Stiles, who's on vacation, I'm Julie Hogan. Oxford School Board members want to know why. And there will be a new Main Street renovation for the village of Leonard.
Stay tuned. Learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. Two patrons celebrating St. Patrick's Day at a local Washington Street bar were asked to leave by the manager when they became loud and belligerent. When they refused to exit the establishment, local police were called and officers arrived, escorted the two outside, and provided them safe transportation to their residence.
Village police received a call that a tips jar was stolen from Witch's Sandwich Shop on Washington Street in Oxford. Employees told officers the thief was a white, unshaven male who was wearing baggy pants and a dark zip-down jacket. They said the man's arms and neck were covered with tattoos. Police interviewed witnesses outside who saw a man fitting that description getting into a black Jimmy. Other information was provided by witnesses, leading police to believe the thief would be apprehended soon.
An Oxford resident residing on Deer Lane in Oxford notified Oakland County officers that her medication was believed stolen while using the U.S. mail system. The medication is a narcotic used to treat lupus, and this is the second time she claims her medicine has disappeared in the mail system. The woman contacted the pharmaceutical manufacturer, who was able to trace the medicine to an Allen Park sorting facility. The woman's prescription was refilled by the company, and a police report was sent to the Allen Park authorities for further investigation.
The Oxford Fire Department was called on a downed power line at a downtown Washington Street parking lot. Police and fire employees safely secured the area, and the wire was reattached to its connection at a parking lot street lamp. If you should ever see a downed power line, never try to move it yourself. Always do as this caller did, be safe and call 911.
Officers were called to a residence at an East Street location in Oxford on a complaint that a woman's boyfriend refused to leave her home at her request. The police arrived to discover that a disagreement with the man resulted in the woman's request for him to exit. After a short discussion with officers, the boyfriend agreed it would be in everyone's best interest if he left voluntarily.
The Oxford School Board and administrators are taking serious issue over the school's rating given by Bridge Magazine. The magazine rated Oxford as being ranked 414 out of 507 school districts. The rating is mystifying because the school district was just recognized by the state for outstanding performance reflected in test scores. Superintendent Dr. William Skilling told the board there are only 3 tests that are actually valid. They're the ACT Explorer, the ACT Plan, and ACT. These tests determine which colleges the high school graduates can attend. It was agreed the true measure of success would be knowing how well Oxford students competed in their adult lives. Unfortunately, that kind of information has never been compiled. The board concluded they will look deeper into the evaluation process. How can this one rating from only one source upset so many? The Oxford School Board wants to know too.
The Oakland County Sheriff's Department has moved to a new substation location at 310 Dunlop Road. Their new offices are located in the rear lower level of the Oxford Township Hall. For many years, the Sheriff's Department shared cramped space at the Express Benny storage facility located on North US 24. Although their physical location has changed, Lieutenant Scott Patterson said their telephone number remains the same, 248-969-3077.
Leonard Village Council has approved a property tax increase from 6 mills to 7 mills. Village Council President Mike McDonald said it's been 20 years since the 6 mill tax was implemented. None of the council members were overjoyed at the thought of an increased millage. McDonald said the Village Council had no choice. The village needs to replace downtown's badly worn Elmwood Street. How do you make that happen with no money? A $500,000 grant from the Michigan Office of Transportation will provide the bulk of the funding. However, the village must provide up to $150,000 in bonding costs, and the village is required to pay an additional $40,000 for engineering costs.
The Oxford Village Council placed a moratorium on all new electronic sign applications pending review of the existing sign ordinance by the Village Planning Commission. The Planning Commission could recommend not to allow such signs in the future at all. Currently, there are 2 businesses in the village who were granted permits for electronic signs. Some council members feel before this gets out of control, a determination needs to be made. Will this type of signage disrupt the historical theme of the village? The Planning Commission will have 120 days to make that determination. Well, it looks like ordinances are in the news again, huh?
Well, yeah, that's the staple of our communities overall, and that's what keeps it running, I guess. But got to make those decisions, so.
Well, Julie, I know that you're filling in for Terry, and Terry will be back in the news next week when she comes back from vacation.
Yep.
So has it been as much fun for you as it has been for me?
Oh, I've had a great time. So I could do this every day with you, Elgin.
You know, on the way here, you were talking about running in or around potholes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, ran into at least 5 or 6 of them on my way here. I recovered. I fortunately didn't lose a tire over it, but I'm sure some folks out there have experienced that with it, so.
Well, you know, there is a state election going on March 5th in which tax is requested, you know, to take care of these roads in the state of Michigan. I did see a Greyhound bus disappear this morning.
You did? Okay.
And I believe I believe there's a conspiracy that they might be out there with dynamite making bigger potholes just so that you folks out there will vote for the issue.
Yeah, one way or another, get out there and vote about it, because we need some help with that.
Now, I understand that you've been all about Oxford this week doing interviews.
I have. I've had the joy of interviewing some great people at Sullivan's Pub and Independence Village. They had some celebrations for Patty's Day, and it was very interesting and entertaining. I had a great time. So, great folks around our community.
So it's a fine day for the Irish, wasn't it?
I forgot, Elgin, you have a little Irish in you.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, and a little leprechaun, apparently.
Yeah, I always say Irish and Scot. That's what my composition is.
Okay.
And I spent most of my life being very frustrated. Part of me being Scot, wanting to save everything. And the Irish part wanting to spend everything.
Maybe there's a pot of gold at the end of that rainbow that you could hawk.
I keep hoping.
That's Oxford News this week. If you want to learn more about these stories and others, stop by your local store and pick up a copy of the Oxford Leader newspaper. Or better yet, catch us right here on OCTV Charter 191 and AT&T Channel 99, where we bring your news closer to home.
And coming up next on OCTV, tune in for Oxford Local Sports, then catch Oxford School News with John Ochins. After that, join us with Auto Talk and the Science in the News with Dave Kenny.
I'm Julie Hogan. This is Oxford News This Week.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In our first story, the largest state in the U.S. is bone dry, and time is running out to save it. Jay Famiglietti, a hydrologist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab and the University of California, Irvine, put out a stark warning last week: start rationing water now to avoid disaster. Writing in the Los Angeles Times, he warned that the state is down to its last year of above-ground reserves and that its groundwater backup is rapidly disappearing. California has no contingency plan for a persistent drought like this one, he wrote, except apparently staying in emergency mode and praying for rain. Groundwater is now a primary source of water as the state experiences its 4th year of severe drought. California has pumped 15 cubic kilometers out of its main aquifers every year since 2011, according to NASA satellite data. In some places, the ground is sinking at a rate of 30 centimeters a year, and as a result, no one even knows how the groundwater is being used, as the state has no policies to keep track of it. He also called for the speedier implementation of California's Sustainable Groundwater Management Act, the first law empowering local agencies to regulate and keep account of groundwater extraction. The act requires full sustainability by 2014. By then, there may be no groundwater left to sustain, he wrote. And in Spain, the lost tomb of Spanish writer Miguel de Cervantes has been uncovered. The author of Don Quixote was buried in 1616 in Madrid's convent of the Barefoot Trinitarians, but his remains were lost when the church was rebuilt, and infrared cameras, 3D scanners, and radar were deployed to identify the burial site in a crypt beneath the convent. Welcome home. And on the technology front, it's bigger, better, and stronger. NASA successfully fired the most powerful solid rocket booster ever, immersing the hills of Promontory, Utah in fire and smoke during a test last week. The rocket booster, built by aerospace company Orbital ATK, could one day launch NASA's Space Launch System, SLS, a rocket being developed to carry the Orion capsule and other payloads on missions to explore deep space. But before that, it must pass tests to ensure that it is ready for flight. This trial is the first of 2 tests aimed to ensure that the booster can handle high temperatures. The firing lasted a little more than 2 minutes, the same length of time that would be required for it to lift the SLS off the launch pad. The temperature inside the booster reached more than 3,000 degrees centigrade, that is to say Celsius, as it burned about 5.5 tons of propellant per second. Meanwhile, engineers collected data on the booster's performance while vetting the design and upgrades to the internal motor insulation and nozzle. At first blush, everything seems to have gone well, but the booster has more hurdles to clear before its first real flight. Test results will be analyzed over several months, and a cold temperature test conducted with a solid fuel at about 4 degrees Celsius is slated for early next year. In our next story, back on Earth, would Black Beauty have made the cut? It turns out that mares prefer stallions with deeper whinnies. Female horses look for the strongest stallions, but their view is obscured. When their view is obscured, they depend on voices to size up potential mates. In the wild, horses live in harems of adults and juveniles led by a stallion. When the young reach sexual maturity, they usually move to another group to mate. Albin Lamassin and his team at the University of Rennes 1 in France have shown that when given the choice, mares go for groups led by stallions with deeper voices, a factor linked with size and fertility. Female choice of harem often occurs from afar, where sound is the most effective form of communication for a first encounter, says Lamassin. So females get a first impression of the stallion based on his concert. The same authors had previously shown that stallions with deeper voices were larger on average. They also have now found that such horses also have a slower heart rate and sire more offspring. By listening to calls, mares might be finding the toughest, calmest, and most fertile males, the ones with the potential to be good fathers and protective mates. The finding could help horse breeders select the best stallions, too. Breeders will be able to choose the most fertile stallions that excite mares the most so that reproduction happens in an optimal manner, says Lamassin. And now, all might be able to make that decision based on sound rather than costly sperm tests. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.
I'm John Ochins, and welcome to the Oxford Wildcat School Update. It looks like the Wyoming International Student Dorm is one step closer to reality. The Oxford Township Planning Commission voted 4-3 to approve a preliminary site plan for the 2-story building. There's quite a laundry list of conditions that need to be met for final approval. The site is almost 3 acres and is located on Market Street, just east of M24 and west of Oxford High School. A lot going on over at Clear Lake Elementary School this week. First, it's 5th grade exhibition time. That's the culmination of the primary year program of International Baccalaureate. The kids form groups and take on projects important to all of us in our community and do something about them. Teacher Christine Vince is the program coordinator over at Clear Lake. She explains more.
Exhibition serves as the opportunity for 5th graders to take everything that we've been trying to teach them from kindergarten up, actually preschool on up, to take all those skills and understandings and apply them in a collaborative research project and to take action with their learning. So it's an opportunity for them to put all the pieces together and apply what they learned.
Christine goes on to emphasize the action phase of this.
That is the most important thing, for it to empower them to understand that they can make a difference, but it also gives them like purpose in their learning. So they're not just, they understand that there's a reason to learn, and that's with the hope that they're going to take this learning and make change.
Peyton Myron, Jordan Rivers, Emma Riddle, and Lauren Hudson took on the subject of hunger. They talk about some of the research they did.
First we had to look into really narrowing down the bigger picture, like seeing how big and powerful this question could be, and if we could research, and who would research what and how to combine our research together.
And you came up with a really good presentation. Did anything surprise you about all this stuff that you had to look up?
We were surprised about like the percentage of how many children are hungry all over like the world.
The girls then explained their action plan for this project.
We had to, what we made the pins, and then we're gonna put macaroni and cheese for the shelf that we adopted for. And we're gonna do that for 6 months until we run out, or well, not run out, but we'll stop. And then if we want to, we can keep going, but we just have to tell them.
Marcia Hudson is the mentor for these girls. She tells what impressed her most.
I've been so impressed by the level of thinking that's happened throughout this process. I have only been able to be with them about once a week for the last 6 weeks, and each time I've been even more and more surprised each time as the level of research that they've done on their own, the kind of questions and the ideas that they had to help them answer the questions. They had an opportunity to interview a lot of people, including Mr. Bigelow, the school principal, but they also had an opportunity to go out to Oakland University and speak with a couple of medical doctors as well as a nutritionist. And they were, I just kind of sat back and watched them talk about nutrition and the impact of poor nutrition on a child's development, and really stay in a conversation with people that are medical doctors and have years and years of experience, but they were discussing it like colleagues.
We are the Troubadours from the Flint Institute of Music.
The next day, the Troubadours came to Clear Lake. These musicians from the Flint Institute of Music visit schools in southeastern Michigan every year, presenting themes apropos to student issues. Mary Margaret St. John is the spokesperson for the group. She explains this year's theme.
It's called Do You Hear What I Hear? And it's the message is that there are 2 sides to every story, maybe 3, and it's respectful to listen to other people's side of any given story.
That's great. How many schools are you going to this year?
We go to 138 elementary schools.
Well, that keeps you busy.
That keeps us quite busy.
Mary Margaret says she's retiring after this year. We'll miss her in these shows, and we wish her the best. That's the Oxford School Update for this week. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local.
You're watching OCTV.
Welcome to another segment of the news we call your weekly calendar of events, where we feature your calendar of local Oxford and Addison community events, including charity special fundraisers and general community information. Now, if you or your organization would like help to get your message out to the public, contact us for detailed information at our studio phone number at 248-628-9658, or you can go to our website at occtv.org. Applications are still available for Oxford High School juniors who want to spend some of their summer vacation exploring what it's like to be the public official who makes the laws and police officers who enforce them. For Boys State, Girls State, and Student Trooper programs, just pick up the necessary forms at your Oxford High School counseling office. This program is brought to you by the local Oxford American Legion Post 108. March 26th, 5:30 p.m. to 7 o'clock p.m. at Red Knapp's American Grill, 2 North Washington Street in Oxford. The Chamber of Commerce invites you, your organization or business representative, to join them at the monthly Chamber United Mix and Mingle. Once there, you will meet friends and hopefully make new business contacts. The introductions are free. Now until March 31st, the Oxford Public Library at 530 Pontiac Street, Oxford, is joining forces with Hope Closet to collect gently used formal dresses, shoes, purses, wraps, and jewelry. Those items will be freely given away to young ladies who would like to go to school dances and the prom this year. If not for your generosity, they wouldn't be able to afford to go. You help these great kids enjoy their high school social dreams, won't you? By calling 248-628-3034 for more information, or go to closet.com on your computer. Adopt a Pet at Pet Dog Adoption Day is held every second Saturday of every month from 11 to 3 p.m. at Pet Stuff Harvest Time in Oxford, corner of Drainer Road and M24. If you would like a loving, furry little addition to your family, Canine Rescue may have just the little buddy for you. To check the Canine Rescue League's website and view pictures of pets for adoption, go to www.dogsaver.org. Bikers giving bikes. If you have a bicycle you no longer need or have outgrown, why not donate it to the Oxford American Legion program, Bikers Giving Bikes? Or if you have a child who would like a bike but you just can't afford to purchase one, Bikers Giving Bikes have refurbished bikes of all sizes. For more information, contact Mr. Sargent at 248-628-9081 at the American Legion building in Oxford. If you are a business interested in joining the Oxford Chamber of Commerce and would like more information about that, what the Chamber can do for you and your community, their offices are located on Burdick Street in the office building of the Public Works. If you represent an organization wishing to show your support for our local Oxford School of Sports, music concerts, or any of the programs broadcast by our TV station, you could become a sponsor or an underwriter of OCTV. The promotional television spot would be created and recognition would be given to you by our sports announcers during the event. It's easy and it's quite inexpensive. For more information, contact our TV manager, Bill Service, at 248-628-9658, or you can send a message of interest to Bill's email address, manager@occtv.org. Now, we at Oxford Community TV would like our television viewing public to learn more about your club or organization's special upcoming event or charity. So if you would like to get your special event mentioned on our television show, call us at 248-628-9658 or go to our website again at occtv.org.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, Fiat Chrysler Automobiles has stopped taking orders for the Dodge Challenger and Charger SRT Hellcats so it can work through a lengthy backlog. Order taking is expected to resume in August, according to allpar.com. FCA US confirmed the suspension but didn't specify how long it would last. Demand for the pair of 707 horsepower cars built in Brampton, Ontario has wildly exceeded company projections, and their limited availability has frustrated dealers and would-be buyers. Several weeks ago, FCA's top U.S. spokesman, Gilberto Ranieri, criticized a handful of dealers for engaging in unscrupulous and potentially illegal behavior by taking orders they may be unable to fulfill. Dodge dealers have delivered more than 2,200 Hellcats, some at well above sticker price. But Dodge brand head Tim Kuniskis told Automotive News that the company had received more than 9,000 orders. That's double the annual sales for which FCA had planned. Dealers started taking orders in September. Most of Dodge's 2,300 U.S. dealers were told that they may get no more than one per month, yet some have taken orders for dozens or even hundreds. Some have asked for non-refundable deposits of up to $5,000. And over at Delphi Automotive aims to demonstrate its growing prowess in self-driving cars with what it bills as the longest automated drive ever attempted in North America, a 3,500-mile coast-to-coast excursion in a specially rigged Audi SQ5 that will mostly drive itself. Delphi, one of the largest suppliers of automotive electronics and safety systems, is using the long journey in the Audi crossover to acquire real-world data from a sophisticated array of cameras, radar, and LiDAR. That's a laser mapping technology, as well as wireless connected vehicle technology. Delphi also wants to test and demonstrate its active safety systems, which are being developed with such suppliers as Mobileye NV, an Israeli maker of computer vision and collision avoidance systems, and software provider Automatica, a spin-off from Carnegie Mellon University's self-driving car program. The Delphi Drive will kick off March 22nd near San Francisco's Golden Gate Bridge, with plans to wind up in New York City just before the city's annual auto show opens there on April 3rd. Delphi is providing some of the components for the technology, including vehicle-to-vehicle connectivity for GM's Super Cruise automated driving system, which will debut in 2016 on the new Cadillac CT6 sedan. And at Ford, the second-generation Ford Edge comes with an all-new 2-liter engine, but it has the same highway and combined fuel economy ratings as the 2-liter version of the outgoing Edge. That's unusual for a complete redesign, as automakers typically try to boost their ratings by at least 1 or 2 miles per gallon to stay ahead of the competition and to make progress towards federal fuel economy requirements. But Ford Motor Company took a different tack with the Edge, which was already the top-selling midsize crossover on the market and among the most fuel efficient. Ford instead focused on making the 2015 Edge more capable, comfortable, and high-tech, saying its buyers want those improvements more than slightly better gas mileage. The result is a slightly longer, taller, lighter vehicle that feels more nimble and can tow 3,500 pounds with its base 4-cylinder engine and gains 5.5 cubic feet in the passenger compartment. The added capabilities, a plusher ride, and more upscale features could help draw a firmer line between the Edge and Ford's other 2-row crossover, the Escape, which is smaller and starts about $5,100 less. The 2015 Edge, which began arriving in dealerships this month, has the same $28,995 starting price as the 2014, and it marks the first time that EcoBoost, Ford's brand of turbocharged direct injection engine, is standard equipment on any Ford vehicle. It's Ford's first vehicle offering a 180-degree camera with washer mounted in the front grille, and it's the first in North America that can automatically back into perpendicular parking spaces. The Edge can also steer into and extricate itself from parallel spaces as long as the space is at least a foot longer than the vehicle. During a demonstration of the technologies, the Edge easily reversed itself into a narrow space between 2 hulking Ford Transit vans. When pulling out, the front camera, which cleans itself of the dirt that can accumulate on the road, revealed approaching baby strollers otherwise obscured by the adjacent vehicles. For 2015, Ford gets a new 2-liter 4-cylinder EcoBoost engine with a twin-scroll turbocharger as standard, and the carryover 3.5-liter V6 is a $425 option. Both engines are available with either front-wheel or all-wheel drive. A 2.7-liter V6 EcoBoost comes at the top-end sport trim, which starts at $38,995, including shipping. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Oxford News This Week. Oxford Sports with March Madness full in gear. Well, the Oxford basketball programs all fared pretty well this year, and a lot of happy people in regards to that. I really feel the boys had a better team that night, according to Oxford varsity coach, Coach Henning, after a 48-34 loss to Clarkston in the MHSAA district semifinals that took place on March 11th. While Oxford was not actually favored to win the contest against the Wolves, Henning gave his boys a little outside inspiration. In an almost win this one for the Gipper, he called in the big guns. Before the game, he had Oxford football coach Bud Rowley give a little speech to the boys, a little bit different than he would have himself. And then he had his own college coach from Rochester College, Clint Pleasant, talk to the gentlemen prior to the battle against the Wolves. Again, Oxford did not fare so well in that game. However, they were probably led with the great speeches in the locker room. Once again, congratulations to this year's Oxford boys basketball team. Also, the lady basketball, I tell you, we had a great season of hoop action. I hope you caught some of it here on OCTV. And it's still available if you go on our website. I'll tell you more about that after the sportscast. For the second straight year, the Oxford Middle School wrestling team won the Oakland County Middle School Championship that was held on March 14th. It took place in Lake Orion. This is the team's third county championship since 2012. 8 teams competed in the 7th annual tournament. The Wildcats smoked all of them to 322.5 points, beating out the second place Van Heusen 217.5, Third place, Clarkston Unified. They came in with 206. Once again, congratulations to the middle school wrestling program. Looking forward to seeing them on the varsity mats. Tune in to Oxford Sports on Saturday and Sunday afternoons. Also, the games can be seen weekdays in the afternoon. If you missed any of our programs, and this is what I mean, go to our website at OCCTV.org. Again, that's going to wrap it for sports this week. I hope I hear from you in regards to the sports stories. We're going to be also taking charge with soccer coming up very shortly. We're back to Oxford News This Week after this.